The day the super empath walks away from the narcissist, there comes a day, a divine volcanic moment, when the heart that loved too deeply stops beating for the one who only took. There comes a storm not outside, but within the soul of the super empath finally erupts. That's not just the day they leave the narcissist. That's the day they reclaim their fire. That's the day freedom is born. And let me tell you something right now. When the super empath walks away from the narcissist, the entire universe feels the shift. Because it's not just a breakup, it's a breakthrough. The moment the empath sees through the mask, there is a moment so profound, it splits your life into before and after. A moment when the truth hits you like a lightning bolt. For the super empath, it is the instant the veil lifts and the mask worn by the narcissist drops, revealing a face you never truly knew. You stare into the eyes that once seemed so warm, only to discover a cold, calculating void. That moment shakes the very foundation of your belief. It's terrifying and liberating all at once. You begin to realize that the words you cherished were scripted lies, rehearsed and perfected for your suffering. It's not a sudden revelation. It sneaks up slowly, a series of small betrayals, inconsistencies, and half-truths that accumulate like cracks in a dam. At first, you ignore them because your heart wants to believe in love and healing, in second chances. But as the cracks widen, the floodgates open, the illusions you've clung to crumble into dust. This is not the person you fell for. This is a hollow shell using your heart as a puppet. You realize the sweet gestures were bait. The charm was a trap, and you were caught. The empath in you feels the pain deeply, like a betrayal by your own soul. But that pain carries a secret power, clarity. When you finally see the narcissist through the smokescreen, the confusion begins to fade. The endless questions that haunted your mind suddenly find answers. You understand why you felt drained, why your boundaries were crossed, why your love was weaponized against you. The empathy you gave was met with manipulation. The kindness you offered was met with cruelty. At this point, doubt is replaced by certainty. This clarity becomes a fierce light in the darkness. It reveals the true nature of the relationship. It uncovers the narcissist's tactics, gaslighting, projection, silent treatment. You no longer question your sanity because the mirror reflects back your truth. The empath inside you awakens to the reality that this is not a love story. It is a battle for your soul. This moment of seeing through the mask ignites something primal. Refusal to be fooled any longer. You recognize that your empathy, your compassion, and your kindness have been exploited. The scales fall from your eyes, and you make a silent vow that you will never allow this deception to continue. This awakening is not just about seeing the narcissist's mask, it's about reclaiming your own vision. It is the first step towards freedom. Because when you see the mask, you can stop playing the role the narcissist wrote for you. You realize you were an actor in a script designed to make you suffer. Now you write your own script. The empath is no longer a pawn. They are the author of their destiny. This moment demands courage. The courage to face the harsh truth, to confront the pain, and to admit that what you loved was never real. It is a turning point where denial is stripped away and reality, no matter how brutal, becomes your foundation. You find yourself standing at the edge of a new path, one that requires you to let go of illusions. And as this truth settles in, you feel a strange mixture of loss and relief. The loss of what you hoped for, and the relief of finally knowing. The empath begins to gather strength from this clarity, like a warrior preparing for battle. The mask is off, and the game has changed. You realize you have been living in a cage built from lies, but now you can see the door. You start to imagine a life where you are no longer trapped by false love and manipulation. The empath awakens to the possibility of walking away, not out of hatred, but out of profound self-respect and awareness. This sight of the mask also sharpens your intuition. You start to trust yourself more. You no longer dismiss your feelings as too much or overreacting. Your inner voice becomes a powerful guide, alerting you to danger and steering you toward freedom. The empath begins to understand that the mask is a shield the narcissist uses to hide their brokenness, but it can't protect them forever. The truth will always rise, and you, the empath, are the harbinger of that truth. In this moment, your heart breaks, but it breaks open. It cracks wide enough to let the light of reality pour in, and that light burns away the fog of deception, lighting the path out of darkness. From this moment forward, you are no longer blinded by false hope. You carry a torch that will lead you, step by step, away from the narcissist's hold. This is the moment you become unstoppable. The rage of realization ignites the soul. The truth is like fire. It can either consume you or forge you into something stronger. When the super empath realizes the full depth of betrayal, that simmering rage begins to bubble beneath the surface. This rage is not chaos. It is a purposeful, controlled explosion that awakens the warrior inside. You start to see the immense injustice, how you poured love into an abyss that swallowed it without a trace, how your empathy was weaponized against you like a dagger, how you bent, twisted, and broke to try to fix what was never broken in the first place. That realization stings like acid, but it also fuels a fierce determination. This is the rage of survival, the rage that says enough, not just for yourself, but for every time you were silenced, diminished, or devalued. It roars louder than the whispers of self-doubt. It shakes the foundation of your pain, tearing down the walls that kept you captive. The rage sharpens your focus. It strips away weakness. It turns past suffering into future strength. You recognize that this fire cannot be ignored or buried. It demands expression. But instead of lashing out in bitterness or revenge, you channel it into fierce self-protection. The empath in you, often quiet and nurturing, becomes a storm of resolve. The rage is your shield and sword. It protects your heart and cuts through the toxic ties that bind you. You are no longer a victim, but a force to be reckoned with. This rage is not an enemy, it is a teacher. It instructs you in boundaries, in self-respect, in the power of saying no without guilt. It reminds you that love without limits becomes love without boundaries, and that's a trap. You begin to see that this fire inside is your greatest ally. It will not allow you to be walked on again. It lights the path away from abuse and toward empowerment. It fuels your steps as you move toward freedom. The rage does not consume your empathy. It transforms it. Your compassion becomes fierce protection. Your kindness becomes an unbreakable boundary. You learn that strength and softness can coexist. This rage also dissolves fear. You no longer fear confrontation or rejection. You fear only staying in a prison disguised as love. That fear is replaced with courage, the courage to stand tall, to speak your truth, and to walk away. The empath begins to own their power unapologetically. This is a radical transformation, from wounded to warrior, from silent sufferer to loud survivor. Your rage humbles the narcissist's false sense of control. It unravels their grip, exposing their weakness and feeding your strength. You don't need their approval anymore. You don't need their validation. The fire inside becomes your guiding light. It is the unrelenting force that pushes you to rebuild yourself on your own terms. This rage also calls out the lies you told yourself to stay. It demands brutal honesty. It demands you face your worth and refuse to settle for less. And in that fire, the empath finds a new voice, a voice that commands respect, a voice that says, I am done being small. The rage doesn't just ignite, you become the flame. The supernova of self-worth explodes. There is no force more powerful than an empath who discovers their worth. It is a supernova, a brilliant, blinding explosion of self-love that outshines every shadow the narcissist ever cast. This is the moment you step into your greatness, realizing that your value was never tied to their approval. Before this, you may have felt small, invisible, like you had to shrink yourself to be loved. You tolerated disrespect, stayed silent when you wanted to scream, and gave more than you received. But now the chains of self-doubt are shattered. This explosion of self-worth is not just confidence. It's a seismic shift in your soul. You see yourself as whole, complete, and worthy. Without conditions, without apologies. You realize your empathy is a gift, not a curse. Your self-worth becomes a fortress. It shields you from manipulation and traps. No longer do you question whether you deserve kindness. You know you do, and this knowledge is contagious. It seeps into every corner of your life. When you embrace your worth, the narcissist's power dissolves like mist. Their words, once like arrows, bounce off your armor. Their attempts to belittle or control fall flat because you stand on solid ground. This is the day you stop seeking permission to be you. You stop apologizing for your needs, your feelings, your boundaries. You reclaim your time, your energy, your peace. The explosion of self-worth changes your relationships, too. You attract people who see your value and treat you accordingly. Toxicity no longer fits in your life's space. You also start to recognize the difference between love and need. You love yourself enough not to settle for crumbs or to stay in pain for the sake of someone else's ego. You become your own first love. This new self-worth is revolutionary. It tells you that you are worthy of respect, joy, and freedom. It fuels the courage to walk away even when your heart aches. In this supernova, your past wounds become stars in your constellation. Beautiful and guiding, not weighing you down. You see your scars as symbols of survival and strength. You learn that your empathy doesn't make you weak. It makes you powerful beyond measure. It connects you deeply to yourself and others in a way that the narcissist can never touch. The explosion creates a magnetic energy around you. It draws the right people, the right opportunities, and the right future. This self-worth also teaches you fierce self-care. You nurture your mind, body, and spirit with reverence. You stop sacrificing yourself for false love. The empath who discovers their worth does not just survive. They thrive. They become a beacon for others lost in the shadows. This supernova shines so brightly that no darkness can swallow it again. The walkaway is silent, strong, and final. The most powerful statement an empath can make is not in words but in action. The walkaway. This departure is not a loud declaration or a dramatic scene. It is silent, strong, and utterly final. It carries a weight that no apology or manipulation can undo. When the super empath walks away, it is with quiet dignity. There is no need to explain or justify. The empath knows their worth and knows that leaving is an act of love for themselves. This walkaway is a seismic shift in the energy of the relationship. The narcissist, who thrived on control and attention, is left with a vacuum, a silence so loud it deafens their ego. The empath's steps away from toxicity are deliberate and unwavering. They carry the weight of all the pain, the lessons, and the strength forged in fire. This departure is the moment the empath chooses freedom over fear. They choose peace over chaos. They choose self, love over false affection. There is no turning back because the empath understands that staying would be a slow death of the soul. Leaving is survival, it is rebirth. The walkaway cuts the cords of manipulation and guilt. It refuses to engage in drama or game. It says, I am enough, I am done. The power of the walkaway lies in its finality. It closes the door softly but firmly, never to be reopened to old patterns. It is a statement that the empath's life is more valuable than the narcissist's approval. It reclaims time and energy once wasted on trying to fix the unfixable. The walkaway is a spiritual act. It aligns with the empath's highest truth and deepest peace. This departure demands respect from the self and others. It is a model of courage that reverberates beyond the immediate circle. The empath who walks away does not carry anger as baggage. They carry clarity, love for themselves, and the wisdom to never look back in shame. This exit is a powerful message. You will no longer be controlled by fear, manipulation, or false love. You choose your peace, your happiness, and your power. No words can undo the impact of this silent, strong, and final goodbye. It shakes the foundation of the narcissist's world and liberates the empath's soul. The narcissist feels the void, but it's Tio, late the moment the empath walks away, a vacuum is created. The narcissist feels the sudden absence of supply, the energy, attention, and control they once commanded effortlessly. This void shakes their core, but it is a void they created for themselves. The narcissist will try to fill this emptiness with hoovering, lies, and false promises. But the empath, now awakened, is no longer a source to be drained. The supply has been cut off, and with it, the narcissist's power begins to wither. They may attempt to mimic change, play the victim, or manipulate guilt. But the empath sees through these tactics. They understand the void is a reflection of the narcissist's own brokenness, not a loss of value. The narcissist feels loss, but it is not the loss of a person. It is the loss of control. This is the punishment for their abuse. They are left facing the emptiness they tried to fill with others' pain. The void is a mirror. It reflects the narcissist's true self, hollow, desperate, and dependent on external validation. And the empath's departure is the undeniable proof that their power was never real. This emptiness becomes a slow, painful erosion of their ego. The more they try to reclaim what they lost, the more obvious their weakness becomes. Meanwhile, the empath walks stronger into their new life. They carry no regrets because they know the void left behind is the narcissist's consequence. The void also serves as a warning for others. It signals that the narcissist's charm is a facade, and their need for supply is endless and insatiable. The empath's freedom means the narcissist's game is over. They cannot survive without a victim willing to give their energy. The void also breaks the narcissist's illusions. They realize too late that they lost a healer, a lover, a soul strong enough to break free. This recognition never leads to true change because narcissism is a cycle of destruction, not growth. The empath, however, grows beyond this cycle, becoming whole and free. The void is a silent testament to the empath's strength and the narcissist's downfall. It is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest power lies in walking away. The rising of the super empath is a NEW era. The walk away is not an end. It is the dawn of a new era. The super empath rises from the ashes of pain stronger, wiser, and more radiant than ever before. This is a transformation that reshapes identity, purpose, and destiny. No longer defined by the narcissist's narrative, the empath steps into a new role, the healer, the teacher, the warrior of truth. This rise is a call to action, not just for themselves, but for everyone trapped in similar darkness. The empath's journey becomes a beacon, their story a lighthouse guiding others toward freedom and self-love. They understand their pain was not a curse, but a catalyst for growth. With every step forward, the empath claims back the parts of themselves lost or hidden in the toxic fog. They reconnect with dreams, passions, and their true essence. This rising is fueled by gratitude, not for the abuse, but for the strength it forged. Every scar becomes a symbol of resilience. The super empath embraces their sensitivity as a superpower, a source of deep connection and insight. They no longer see empathy as a weakness, but as a bridge to healing. This era is marked by fierce self-care, unbreakable boundaries, and unshakable confidence. The empath becomes a leader, empowering others to break free and reclaim their lives. They use their voice to expose lies, dismantle manipulation, and spread truth. Their rising shakes the foundations of toxic dynamics everywhere. It challenges the status quo. This new era is not just personal freedom. It's a revolution of the heart and spirit. The super empath's rise ignites hope, courage, and transformation on a massive scale. They become a living testament to the power of walking away, standing strong, and rising higher. Their journey from victim to victor inspires a movement of healing that changes lives. And with every breath, every step, the super empath builds a future where empathy and strength coexist in unstoppable harmony. Now, as you stand at this moment, soaking in everything we've uncovered about the hidden traps, the emotional wreckage, and the fierce battles within yourself, remember this. You hold the key to your own freedom. Every insight we've shared, every warning sounded, every truth unveiled is your stepping stone to reclaiming your power, your peace, and your purpose. The path away from manipulation, betrayal, and self-doubt is not easy. Nothing worth fighting forever is. But you are stronger than any toxic influence, more resilient than the darkest shadow cast by betrayal. Your journey is about breaking free from chains that never belonged to you, about rising from ashes the narcissist thought would bury you, and about crafting a life that honors your true worth. You are not a victim of your past, nor a prisoner to the lies whispered to you in moments of weakness. You are a warrior, a survivor, a creator of your own destiny. And as you move forward, carry this fierce resolve with you, to love yourself fiercely, to protect your heart wisely, and to never settle for anything less than the respect, love, and happiness you deserve. This is your awakening. This is your power unleashed. And no matter what storms come your way, know that inside you burns a fire that no one can extinguish, not even the darkest narcissist. So go forward boldly, knowing your story is not one of destruction, but of triumph, transformation, and unstoppable victory. The world is waiting for the light only you can shine. Step into it. Own it. Live it.